Michael the Grinder Mizrachi won the main event.
Wow.
I mean, off the top of my head, this is by far the most currently famous person to ever win the main event in the poker world, and since maybe Doyle Brunson or Stu Unger won it, and I can't imagine anybody else. Like, he's among the 20 most famous poker players in the world before this. Now he's way up above that now, right?
Yeah, he's. I think you're exactly right. He's the most famous poker player to win the main event since the Moneymaker era began. Certainly.
Yeah. For sure.
Certainly. And maybe ever. Because, like, when Doyle won and Stu Unger won, they were a big deal within the poker world. But that was a much smaller world than it is now,
I mean, Amarillo Slim was, like, going on Johnny Carson and stuff.
That's true.
So,
but I think that was after he won, not before. But still, Amarillo Slim was a very popular character. That's fair. But anyway, whatever. That's the conversation we're having about him. Whether he's number 1, number 2, or number 3. He's, like, in that rarefied air in terms of popularity and victory that you just never see, that combination.
It's not Negreanu winning, but it's like the next tier down of what could have happened.
Maybe two tiers
maybe
down. Like Ivy, Negreanu, Helmuth, that is all way bigger, right?
Yeah,
way bigger.
So, but let's just talk about it.
Where I left because I know my people needed me. Diamond in the rough, I don't know what it is they see in me. Go down as a legend in my city because we beat the streets, trying to spread the wealth around.
There's a lot of discourse surrounding it. There's a lot to talk about surrounding Michael Mizrachi now, because he's not only won the main event, he won the Poker Players Championship this year again, the 4th time, which is the most prestigious poker tournament on the calendar, maybe in the entire world.
I think so.
So that's pretty good. So let's just give me your quick reaction to Mizrachi winning. How do you feel about it?
I'm excited about it. I was rooting for him. I was rooting for him and Leo Margetts. But really, I was rooting for him for the last several days. Actually, I was also Tony Gregg. I was really rooting. He was my number
Tony
one.
Gregg, the
how
monk.
Can you not?
If his nickname is not the monk, it's N-Boss, I know, because that was his online name. But if his nickname is not the monk, it needs to be the monk. That dude is a monk.
It should be. It should be the monk.
Like, does he drink water or eat food? There's a question. Does he drink water or eat food? I don't know.
No, he does. He does, just in very small quantities and very rarely.
I mean, if Tony Gregg told me that he was a breatharian, I would believe him. I would be like, you know what? I never believed people who said that before, but you know what? I get it. I think it's true.
Yeah. He has got to be the calmest man in all of human history.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was rooting for Tony Gregg, but second to that was the Grinder, and so it's been a little while. Tony Gregg went out 11th, I think. And I'm really excited he won. One, because he's a very famous poker player. Not because it's quote good for poker. I don't think it's especially good for poker. Really, I don't think it's going to move the needle and bring all these people in.
No.
But this is a guy who's been doing this since 2005, man, and he's still here. He's still on top of his game. I mean, he's been winning poker player championships at the World Series since 2010. This is 15 years of being somewhat dominant. This is something you just almost never see in the poker world. This kind of extended excellence. Like, Negreanu's done it. I guess you could argue, some people would argue that Helmuth has done it. Ivy's done it. Very few people really, Scott Seaver, there aren't that many people we can say have done this.
Sean Deeb has done it.
Sean Deeb has done it. And we could come up with 10 more names, I'm sure. But the Grinder is one of these guys, and now he just won the biggest prize of all. And all these other guys have been trying to win that every time. The Grinder made the final table and finished, 5th in 2010? And now he made the final table again, and this time he left no bodies left unturned. I don't know what the phrase would be here.
You have to
I'm excited. I feel very excited about it. How do you feel?
I do too. It's like the complete opposite of last year, right? It's a repudiation of the Tamayo win. It's and this is what the poker community, not necessarily, it's not a moneymaker event. It's not going to bring people in, like you said, but this is what the poker community, the people who are already in the community, have been grasping for, is a player like this to be the dominant force of the World Series of Poker, instead of a player like Tamayo with Nietzsche on his rail, whatever, however you say that guy's name. Doing solvers on the rail, and Tamayo being a robot who does robot stuff. Like, that's been a problem in poker for years. It's getting worse and worse. The robots are taking over. We've talked about this many times. It sucks. I think my general take is that solvers are bad for the game. I wish they were never invented. I wish they didn't exist. The game would be better if they didn't, because it's way cooler when it's me against you trying to figure it out. And it makes sense that solvers take over because they are, the better mousetrap, and you figure out things better. But there's still other elements to especially live poker. Online poker, maybe not so much, but especially live poker, there's still other elements. And those elements are what Michael Mizrachi is good at. And it's great to see him win because we need that. We need a charismatic person who does cool poker stuff instead of just what the computer says to win. That's what we need in the poker world. And I'm very happy about it as well for those reasons, that this type of player can still win.
He's not a villain. He's not a bad guy. He doesn't treat people poorly, doesn't call people names. But on the last hand of the World Series of Poker main event, when he made the flush on the turn and the guy bet into him, he gestured for the crowd to start cheering before he even put in the raise. Then he did the 2 thumbs up like he's going to raise. Then he made it 30 million. The all-in came. He called right away and then had no idea at all what the board was or what his opponent's hand was somehow. Where he's saying, no club, when his opponent did not have a club and a club was not an issue. Then he said, he's dead, it's over, he's dead, when it absolutely was not over and his opponent was not dead. I mean, like the guy this accomplished can lose it a little bit, you know, at the biggest moment of his poker career, right? It's the greatest moment ever of his, and finally he's like, oh, wait a second. Oh, he's got 4 outs. You know? Like, no ace, no 9. But like, there's something wonderful about all of it, again, as opposed to, and Tomoyo is just the current like example of this for sure. But that like, hey guys, I know I just won that hand, but tell me, how should I size the Queen 10 suited on the turn there? You know, should I go 1/2 blind more, 1/2 blind less? And it feels like the grinder is this throwback in the best of ways. And shows, guess what? You can be among the very best poker players in the world and do it this way too. Like Negreanu often tries to show, you know, you can have fun, you can talk, you don't have to be this boring guy. The grinder feels like takes it in a different direction a little bit, but has this wonderful charisma. He looks like he's having a good time. The guy is super in love with poker. And the day off between when they made the final table and started playing the final table, he played at the Win, I think, and won a Win tournament, like a one-day Win tournament. Like the guy did not take the day off somehow.
He won the tournament? I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yes. I mean, it's so bizarre, right? I mean, so God bless this guy. I think it's great.
Yeah. I think it's great too. So I went on Twitter, X, whatever, and I was just curious. I don't go on there very often, but I wanted to see what the discourse was among the poker community. That was the best way to do it. The poker subreddit's not going to do me any good in that case.
No.
So I went on there, and I saw a lot of stuff, but there's a prime example of the type of discourse that I was seeing was a little bit upsetting to me, honestly. There was a lot of stuff that was like, I love that the grinder won, like a lot of complimentary stuff, a lot of stuff that echoed what we just said.
Yeah.
But then I came across a few things, this being the most prime example, from Daniel Colpoys, who is a high roller regular, I guess. He's got like 3.2 million in Hendon, and he plays like 50Ks and stuff like that. But he said, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Mizrachi is really just terrible at no-limit hold'em. Can call it field play or whatever you'd like. The man would lose so fast in most no-limit hold'em spots. He's also shit-faced, which is respectable. He says he's drunk. I don't really know if the grinder was drunk.
Whatever.
Maybe by the end of the tournament he had a few drinks. I don't know.
Who cares?
Then this was echoed by Victoria Livshitz, who is the founder of Octopi Poker. She says, a charismatic grinder repeatedly making objectively bad aggressive plays and getting incredibly lucky to wipe the floor with the main FT is the best thing that could have happened to poker. So the rest of her tweet was mostly about how it was good for poker, whatever, but she agreed that he was a bad player. And I had like a reaction to this. Like, I was like, there's been times in the past for sure when we've done grinder breakdown hands, like back in the day, when we've been heavily critical of a lot of his play, which is what we do. You know, that's what we do. But to say that he's objectively bad at no limit hold'em, excuse me, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is this a joke to you? What are you can't be serious, right? Like, because the solver doesn't like his play doesn't mean it's a bad play. He's not playing against solvers. If he was playing against a solver, he would get crushed. I agree. Guess what? He's not, and neither are you. And guess who has more accomplishments? The guy who understands that he's not playing against solvers all the time. The guy who's fucking crushing it right now. Like, give me a break.
Let's go even further. I want to push even further than that. Okay, let's even say somehow these guys are somewhat right. And not that he's bad at no limit hold'em. Obviously, that's not true. That's absurd. But that, like, he couldn't hang in their games, which is basically what they're really saying, right?
Yeah, maybe that's true.
That's the context of all this. Is I'm better than this fucking guy, and everyone else I know is too. That's the real context, right?
Yes.
if there's somehow that's true, and I don't know that that's true at all. I mean, if it was Lucky Chewy posting it, I might be like, okay, that's probably right. Or like Hacks, and I'm like, well, I mean, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know if these guys are right or not. But like, so the critique is this guy isn't part of the 0.0001% top end of the poker continuum. He's in the 0.002%, and so fuck that guy. He sucks. Like, that's what we're saying. Anyone who's even the slightest bit worse than me sucks. Which is a common thing, by the way, I see in a lot of really good poker players, and actually bad poker players, and poker in general. This weird like status ego thing. You know, if you're not exactly as good as me, if you're even one iota worse than me, that means you suck, and I always want to play against you because I've got an edge, and and you suck. And it's so bizarre. Like, there's no world where Michael Mizrachi is a bad no-limit hold'em player.
No, there is
There's
not.
Zero worlds that we are living in. He is one of the best no-limit hold'em players in the world, in fact. Now, he may not be in the top 10 players in the world if we're talking about cash games, 500 blinds deep at, for huge amounts of money, but that's not the games he plays either, right? He plays the tournaments. He's extremely accomplished, and he just won the Poker Players Championship for the fourth frickin' time. Now, that isn't only no-limit hold'em. That's a mix of games. No-limit hold'em is one of them. He has tremendous no-limit hold'em accomplishments. I remember the first time I ever saw him was the World Poker Tour, where he got bad beated out on the final table, and the next week on the World Poker Tour, he won the event. So, like, I was like, I never even had seen a guy make back-to-back final tables before. And I was like, this guy, oh my God, who is this guy? And that was the first time I'd ever heard of the grinder. Like, this guy is absolutely great at this game. And as you said, Grant, he's totally on top of the people part of the game, the feel part of the game. That's a whole other set of skills that if you're really trying to be solver perfect, you may not even need to know. You may not you're just trying to make sure no one picks up anything on you, as opposed to thinking you can ever pick up on something on someone else. But the grinder plays a freewheeling, loose, aggressive, chicken kind of a game, right? Like, I'm driving my car as fast as I can right at you. What are you going to do about it, right? And that's worked for him for 15 to 20 years. And he just won the biggest prize in poker and had one of the best years we've ever seen. And many people are saying the greatest World Series anyone has ever had, he just had because he won both those events the same year. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing. So anyone who says this, I would like them to punch themselves in their face at least once, just to wake themselves up from this absurd, I just want everyone to know that I am better than that guy. Like, shut the hell up. This is not your time. Wait till it's your time. My God.
It's not going to be your time. You're not going to be as good as him. It's just not going to happen. Nobody is almost in the world ever. Like, he's one of the greatest of all time at this point due to his accomplishments in tournament poker, including, of course, No Limit Hold'em. He just won the biggest No Limit Hold'em event on the poker calendar. Yeah. He did it in an impressive fashion. He got lucky along the way. So did Joe Catta. Is anybody saying that Joe Catta is an objectively bad no-limit hold'em player? So did almost everybody who's ever won the main event. How did Darvin Moon get second? Did he play really, really good?
I mean, look, I'm with you. Mizrachi got, once we were down to, 2 tables, Mizrachi got down to 3 blinds, and then he was in a cooler, didn't work out, got down to 3 blinds, and then yes, he absolutely got lucky, like in 4 hands where he was all in and way behind, pre-flop, where he was 30% a fair amount of the time, and he hit all of them. Sometimes it was a flip, whatever. But okay, like you said, almost everyone who wins is going to get lucky along the way. And the fact is, we knew as soon as he got the big chip lead that he was a massive favorite to win, unlike a bunch of the other guys the Darvin Moons of the world, who get a big chip, and you're like, it's going to be a miracle if this guy wins anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, I bet these people who are saying this would have not said that Gordon Vea was an objectively bad no-limit hold'em player. And how did that go for him when he was trying to play solver perfect?
I don't know if that was solver perfect, and I don't know what they would say about Vea. It was pretty rough watching Gordon Vea once he was heads up. Pretty rough. Sorry, Gordon.
Yeah, sorry, Gordon.
You know what you did. You know what you did, buddy. Come play with us on Clubs Poker. They have tournaments, they have ring games, and a 100% bonus if you use the code POKERGUYS or use our link in the description.
It is a lot of fun on Clubs. I have been playing on Clubs, and I have been genuinely impressed by their software. They have great games all the time, and redemptions go direct to your bank account. There's no crypto involved, none of that BS. It's a US-based company. Come play with us on Clubs. We'll see you there. But, I mean, not to harp on this for too long, but I just want to come back. I think, and they didn't say this explicitly, but I think what this is that they can run what he does through a solver, and that's like their god, and that tells them whether or not it's a quote-unquote good play. and they're not looking at this objectively. They're looking at this from solver perspective only. He understands tournament strategy. Obviously, he's good at tournaments of all forms. He's good at no limit hold'em tournaments. He understands where the pressure points are, where to put people in a vice. He does this better than pretty much anybody else in the world. He understands the people that he's playing against, what types of players they are, how they're going to react to him. These are all very important things. And if a solver played against Mizrachi for infinite time, the solver would crush Mizrachi. Of course. It would crush anybody. That's just how it works. But you're not playing against solvers, especially in these large field no limit hold'em tournaments that are very popular among the general population of poker players. He's better at that than you. Deal with it. That's just part of life.
Yeah, good poker play is not just what is the thing that's going to, over time, when I'm in this situation a million times, going to be the most profitable play. Good poker play is also what is the most profitable play right now against this opponent in this exact situation, right? It's really a combination of both. But if you can do the second thing, the latter, I mean, that's the dream, right? I deviate whenever necessary to squeeze the most value out of every single situation. And when I don't know what to do, then I don't deviate, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Grinder probably maybe doesn't have the same baseline that these other guys do, but he's so good at deviating and exploiting his opponents that he doesn't need to be so good at that other stuff. Everyone has different sets of skills, and it'd be like, well, you're terrible at basketball because you're short, and you're like, dude, I'm Michael Jordan. It's okay. You can be 7'7". I can still be Michael Jordan and be the best player of all time. I don't have to be 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I was thinking about
other things.
I was thinking about basketball. It's not the same thing, but it feels a little bit like when Dennis Rodman said LeBron James would be a role player in my era. It's got a similar vibe.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right. I agree with you. That it's just absurd and ridiculous and petty. And all it does is reflect bad on you, which is weird that these people don't know this. These high roller people should understand this is you. If you want to say something like this, you got to wait 2 years. And then you could start whispering this, really there were some points at the final table or whatever, Grinder this and that, has a few leaks here and there. You can't do it the day after he wins and think you're going to be a hero in the poker community. You're not, man. You're just going to look so awful.
Deep. They're just so deep in it. They're studying all the time. They think that everything that they know is so important and so good, and it is. They're very good at poker, I'm sure. They understand all the solves. They understand the spots. Sure. They understand the math behind it way better than Michael Mizrachi does. That's fine.
And us.
Whatever. But guess what? Mizrachi didn't play a single poker tournament between last World Series and this World Series, and look what he did. He's just a natural talent. Yeah, he's just a natural talent.
Oh, my God. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. Okay, so one thing that happened after Michael Mizrachi won, I'm moving on from this because we could harp on this forever, but let's not.
Let's not.
So they made a special exemption and put him in the Poker Hall of Fame immediately.
Yeah.
Which never happens. They're only allowed to put one guy in a year based on the rules. Nick Schulman was the guy this year. And somehow they just decided to put him in. Which I will say, I actually am not a fan of that move, even though I think he belongs in the Poker Hall of Fame. I'm sure he was going to get it no matter what. By the way, he belongs in if he roasted on day one of the main event this year.
Yeah, he does.
Just by virtue of winning the 4 Poker Players Championships, he should be in the Poker Hall of Fame.
You're
That's
in.
enough.
Yeah.
Plus, by the way, his resume is way more accomplished than that already.
Yeah.
He's got many other things. But they decided just to put him in right away. So I actually don't like that because it sets a precedent now, which now we may decide to do that for other things. And eventually, it can be a slippery slope. I don't know why we have to do that. Why can't we just put him in next year, when you're supposed to? It isn't like he saved the world from aliens. I just don't know why we need to do it right now. What's your thoughts on that?
I think there was a push for it, and I think it was probably something that the Poker Hall of Fame committee or whoever is in charge of this wanted because I think they want to get out of this one person a year thing. They might see it as a way out, because it's there's too much of a logjam. There's too many people to put in. There's going to have to be a lot of posthumous inductions if we're doing one a year, and that's sad.
No question.
Nobody wants to talk about dead people. So,
it worked better. In the pre-Moneymaker era, there were less players, right? Everything was smaller. But now that there's so many guys, we could name, I'm sure you and I, off the top of our head, we're not going to try, we could probably name 25 to 30 people who absolutely belong in the Poker Hall of Fame who are not in yet, right? And like you're saying, there's going to be new people every year who are like, gosh, that guy is dominating. Yeah. That guy has to be in, and it's just going to be like that. So, yeah, you're right. They do need to change that rule. I expect they will because back in the day, the first World Series of Poker, they voted on who won the World Series of Poker the first year, and you just weren't allowed to vote for yourself. That was the only rule, and because there were 9 guys.
Yeah.
So things change, and it's time to change that for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else to say about this?
Yes. 2 other things. One is, so on the second hand of the final table, so they come back, they're 4-handed. On the first hand, Kenny Howard busts with ace queen against king jack suited. Howard shoves for 10 blinds. Mizrachi snap calls with king jack and wins.
Standard situation.
The very next hand, they're 3-handed. Mizrachi, it folds to Mizrachi, I believe, in the small blind. Anyway, the first guy folds. Mizrachi goes all in. The other dude has just posted the big blind and the ante. So including the big blind, he's got 9 blinds.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Dunaway.
Dunaway, right. Mizrachi moves in with ace-10 suited. Dunaway calls with 10-6 suited, 10-6 of hearts. Now, if he folds, he's going to have 8 blinds, and the other 2 guys, Mizrachi's got all the chips, and the other guy has a lot of chips. But why did we call here? Why? I don't really understand why we call with 10-6 suited.
I don't know.
It seems very odd to me.
I think
to call with that hand.
I think if he jammed it small to big, it would be like a break-even play, probably.
It's got to be at least okay to do that.
But calling off with it,
at all.
I mean, it feels very bad. It does. I don't really you have fold equity with 8 blinds still. You can still jam and get folds, and you can find usually a better hand than 10 high before you have to be all in.
I mean, we don't have much time. We're gonna have 2 hands before we're back in the spot again. But I would think, on average, we're gonna see a better hand than 10 high, where we have to call it off. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's okay to move in with this hand, even on the button, if we have 8 blinds. It's not the end of the world. And I wonder if snap shove, if we tell snap shove our opponent is moving in 100% of the time, then maybe 10-6 suited is a call. But I actually don't believe the grinder would be moving in 100% of the time.
It's probably not 100, and 10. It's probably 10 pretty high. Is
it's just rough.
It's not 10-9 in that situation. Suited. You'd rather have jack deuce off, right? It's a better hand to call with. So
with any Broadway card, any paint is better. I mean. And Grinder, by the way, has a particular situation here where, of course, he wants all the chips, but keeping your very short stack alive means he can put tremendous pressure on the other guy. He doesn't want to just bust you.
Yeah.
He actually might give you a bunch of walks just to keep you around until he has a good situation to move you in. He also knows you're going to be calling relatively light. I don't think he's just got any 2 cards. I don't think he's 7 deuce and 8-3 and all that stuff. I think he's probably got 65, maybe 70% of hands max. Maybe it's much less if he's thinking about the situation and he wants to push the other guy around and just slowly just accumulate chips until there's a good spot to take them all.
I'm willing to give Dunaway a little bit of grace. It's a long tournament. It's difficult. I've made lots of mistakes in my poker career.
Sure.
I think that this is a mistake. It's not like the worst mistake I've ever seen.
It's not the end of the world.
But it was a surprise to see the call. I'll say that.
It's very, very odd. Very odd. If he had, like you said, Jack Deuce, I can get behind it. I actually wouldn't want him to call with Jack Deuce.
No, I don't want
either.
to call with Jack Deuce either. I don't. I'm just saying that would be better.
But if we had Queen 9 suited and he called, I'd be
sure.
I understand that. That. We had Jack 10 suited. Honestly, if we had 10-9 suited and we called, I can understand that.
Yeah.
But 10-6 suited just feels like a weird decision when we have what feels like we can just fold and we get 2 hands and we can move in with either one of them or be back in the same spot, and it's going to be a shittier spot. But we're usually finishing third anyway. Maybe he just felt like it's time to gamble. I'm finishing third almost the whole time. Let's go with anything we can to go for double ups. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, whatever.
It's probably. I'm guessing that Mike, whatever his name is, Daniel Kolpoy and Victoria Lifshitz don't like the call.
I don't know. Maybe they love the call. What do I know? Anyway, the other thing I wanted to bring up to you. So we talked about him being in the Hall of Fame. I assume we both feel like that, of course. That's an obvious thing. I know we do. So before the final table started, I said to you, if Grinder wins this, do you think he's a top 10 player of all time? And I believe you said yes if he wins. And I said, I think he's a top 10 player right now, even without the win. Just making the main event final table again is enough with his resume to be considered a top 10 player of all time. So I just wanted to now that he actually has won, where do we more or less what kind of a tier do we place him in here? In terms of he's on the Mount Rushmore, and maybe it's a bigger Mount Rushmore than just 4, but on the list, where is he kind of? What
for me
he's
definitely below the Ivy Brunson Hellmuth Negreanu tier, but he's probably in the next tier now. He might have been a couple tiers down in my brain before this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I realized that he had already won 3 PPCs before this year. I don't think I'd been paying that close of attention, but that's obviously, maybe I was sleeping on him a little bit, probably. And in part for the same reasons that these people were tweeting these things, because I've seen him make these plays that I'm like, that seems like it can't be good, but that doesn't mean he's not good, obviously. So yeah, I think he's in the second tier, so he's not in the GOAT tier, but he's in the second tier, and
he's still got a long career ahead of him potentially.
I think he's in I don't think he's technically as skilled as these players. I'm going to say that very clearly for all the tweeters out there. But I think he's in the Bonomo Haxton tier. And
I think if we're doing players of all time, I have him ahead of those guys now. They play a lot of, big buy-ins, small field tournaments.
True.
They're very good at that.
They play very different poker than he plays, for sure.
Exactly. And there's a case to be made that those poker players are just better than the other guys. That's a reasonable case, and that's sort of the Victoria Lifshitz point of view. There's something there. But I think, poker is mostly played, and, the biggest tournament, the most important tournament in the world is not played that way, right? The most important tournament in the world is the one that just finished. That's the one everyone in the world wants to win more than anything else. And that's the one that he just won, and he's already final tabled that, and he also has an unbelievable resume beyond that, and he wins the Poker Players Championship more than anyone else in history, which is the thing that all the great players want to win, and it's all the games. I think you can start to make a case. I don't know if you can. I don't know. We'd have to look at all the names for him to. We could start him at 5. He might be as high as 5 behind the 4 guys you named. He might be number 5 right now, all time. Now, maybe not. Maybe he's actually 12. But I think he's definitely in that next tier and maybe at the top of the tier.
I don't know if he's 5. I don't think you can say objectively he's 5 because first name that comes to the top of the head who's at least very similar is Sean Deeb. He's got to have a case against Grindr, right?
He's definitely got a case.
Deeb has an incredible career.
Incredible. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing career. No question. And I would say more feared by the great players than the Grindr, for sure. But, Sean Deeb has never made... How deep has Sean Deeb ever gone in the main event? Not that that's really a fair thing. There's 10,000 players. You're mostly not going to get anywhere in the main event, of course.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to quantify all this. Accounting for all the games, Sean Deeb is obviously amazing at all of the games.
Yes, of course he is. No, I would say objectively he's probably a better poker player, but we're talking about who had the best careers, really, when I say the best player of all time, because otherwise the accomplishments don't really matter. We're just looking at technical skill.
Yeah, it's careers, So, I think Mizrachi's probably ahead of Deeb right now. By the time they're both dead, it'll probably be pretty close.
Who knows? I don't know. They're both neck and neck at this point with one other guy in the Player of the Year race. Actually, really, Deeb is number 1. Benny Glazer's number 2, and Mizrachi now is number 3. He's just a little bit behind them. He's 400 points behind those two.
Benny Glazer is an amazing player too, by the way, but he's not yet in this conversation.
Not close to this conversation, right? But he's got a ways to go.
You know who else is really good and needs some recognition? I don't think he's necessarily in this tier either, but the guy who also made the Hall of Fame this year is quite impressive. Yeah. I was watching some highlights of the PPC, or maybe it was some mixed game format, and Jared Blesnick was doing the commentary, and Nick Schulman played a deuce to 7 hand in a way that Blesnick was just shocked by, and he's like, and this is why Nick Schulman is the best deuce to 7 player in the world, bar none.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
cool.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah. You're probably thinking of the Poker Go Cup that they did recently. They had a whole mixed games, a bunch of mixed games.
It was a World Series event.
Oh, it was. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, whatever it was, Nick Schulman can play all the games, is obviously extremely good too, but I don't think he has the resume that Grindr has. I just don't think any of these guys have the 4 PPCs and main event title and WPT title and main event final table on top of that and other WPT final tables and many other wins as well. Yeah. A bunch of other bracelets, by the way, for Grindr as well, at least a few others. I just don't think anyone else can match that.
Is it
7 now?
He's 8 now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's 3 more beyond the ones we've just mentioned, right? That is just a spectacular career. And how old is that guy? Is he 50?
44?
I mean, oh my God, really?
Yeah.
So he could have another 25 years of playing, 25 years of doing this, potentially. His game is not one that necessarily will age the way some of these other guys, like the Ike Haxtons of the world, have to keep up all the time and study all the time. The Grindr has to study, but not nearly as much because he plays the man. He plays the fool.
Study. There's no chance he studies. What are you talking about?
He studies a little.
He doesn't study. There's no chance. Which is why it's so great. I love that he probably doesn't study. I love that about him.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Boy, the commanding lead that this guy had at the final table is so insane. Incredible to see that happen, and just basically just couldn't lose. He won every showdown. Everything went his way. Obviously, he's really good too. He put a lot of pressure on people too, of course. And he has a perfect feel for the game at this level anyway, which is the level where you really want to have it at the main event. But like everything came together perfectly for him. And what a wild thing to be down to 3 blinds, on day 7 and then win the whole thing.
Anyway, incredible. If he's ever finds his way to watching this, I would like to say congratulations to him.
Yes,
I'm happy for him. I imagine he's probably too busy on his 9th rewatch of the Fast and Furious movies to ever watch this. But
it's about family, okay?
I'm happy that he won. I'll say I'm happy that he won.
But here I come, push it to the limit, I can't go no more. Red light, no way, I'm coming back home. Long dirt road, all on my own. I'ma be the greatest,